Welcome to part one of a brand new series where I help my viewers find their perfect chair based on their build, their seating preferences, and to do this, I put out a questionnaire on social media asking the following questions. What is your name, your height, your weight, what region do you live in, how do you like to sit, how long do you like to sit for, do you like aggressive lumbar, what's your preferred seating material, what is your budget like, have you ruled out any chairs already, what chairs have you liked in the past, and any additional information that I should know. As you can see, this is gonna get really specific, and in just 1 week, I got 38 requests. In part one, I'm gonna be giving chair recommendations for people all the way up to 5'7" or about 170 centimeters, and I'm not sure what part two is gonna look like. I'm looking for your guys' honest feedback to see how I can do it better in the next one. Let's get honest. If I've helped you find your perfect chair, please consider using my links down below. That really helps this channel so much and allows me to make more content like this. I really appreciate it. Before we jump in, people under 5'2" will 1000% need a footrest if you don't plan to sit like this inside of your chair. It's just an unfortunate reality about these chairs, and it will leave your legs dangling and it will leave the chair most likely hitting the back of your calves. Now, I did make a video reviewing 8 different kinds of footrests, so make sure you guys check that one after this one. Let's start with Marey. Marey is 4'11", weighs 187 pounds, is located in the USA, likes to sit crisscross applesauce and leg tucked under. Marey is clearly a teacher. Crisscross applesauce sounds like a teacher term. Likes to sit for 3 to 4 hours. That confirms it because kids don't let you sit for long periods of time. Do you like aggressive lumbar? Nope. Preferred seating material is mesh, pleather, and fabric. Budget is $300 to $400. They have not ruled out any chairs, and they like the IKEA ones, but they're not comfortable for long periods of time, and they're not wide enough to use cross-legged. And any additional information, they want something with a detachable armrest. Looking at this, Marey, you're gonna wanna get fabric, not mesh, and 2 reasons why. One is because mesh is going to require a hard plastic edge, and so if you like to tuck your legs or do leg under, single leg under, then those hard edges are going to affect your legs, is going to hurt. The other reason is because in your budget, $300 to $400, a lot of these mesh chairs are using cheaper mesh and they're going to sag a lot faster due to your weight. If you're sitting only 3 to 4 hours at a time, almost any foam seat will work here. And the good news is that at any chair that's about $200 or above, the arms are detachable. They screw on when you go to install the chair, so you can easily take those off. I'm gonna recommend one of 3 things: the Sokha M90D, the Bowery chair, and these 2 chairs have really nice thick cushions, soft all around, some of the best cushions in this price point. And then the third option I'm gonna give is the Sitis T50 if you feel like you want to sit in other ways. The T50 offers a little bit more customization where you can, like, for example, tilt forward inside of the chair. That relieves pressure off of that lower back, but the seat cushion is not as good. Next up is Sokha. Sokha is 5'1.5". I like that 1.5 height thing. Sokha weighs 175 pounds, located in the USA, likes to sit legs crossed at the ankles, so kind of like this, or with the feet resting on the leg chair, so pretty normal sitter. Likes to sit for 8 hours at a time, does not like aggressive lumbar, wants something mesh, pleather, or fabric, has a budget of $300, has not rolled out any chairs, has liked the Group Spiel gaming chair in the past, and any additional information is that they have an adjustable standing desk and want a chair that can be sitting or standing height, and prefers a chair with armrests. Unfortunately, I don't know of any chairs that can go from regular desk height to standing desk height because physics. You're putting like 100-some pounds on top of a really long pole, and I can imagine that would be really dangerous. For you, I would recommend the same as above, where I don't recommend mesh at this price point, and the reason being because the weight. Again, this is not meant to shame, but weight in the, mesh in the $300 price point will be a lower quality mesh, and with the weight factor, that mesh will sag a lot quicker. So the one I recommend for you is the Sokha M90D. It is a little over $300. There's a coupon you can clip to get it for about $330, but it has a great cushion, and I think it would be a good choice for you. If you like this series, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any feedback in terms of how I can make it better, or you want to see me do this again, let me know that in the comments down below. I do read all of them, and I really appreciate it. Next up is Cam. Cam is 5'2", weighs 125 pounds, lives in the USA, sits with a normal footrest or cross-legged, so pretty normal sitter, sits for 5 to 8 hours at a time, likes an aggressive lumbar, likes mesh, pleather, or fabric, has a budget of $400. They said that they haven't ruled out anything, but they don't want any gaming chairs. They said that they liked the Herman Miller Aeron in the past, and additional information, they want lumbar support and arms that can move up, down, left, right, and swivel, and a headrest is not a priority. For Cam, a used Aeron size A is probably gonna be your best bet. Now, if you like the Aeron, there is no better chair in the $400 to $500 price point than a used Herman Miller Aeron. Now, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you can check out my detailed buying guide on how to buy a used Aeron, and I go into deep diving of all the features and how much you should expect to pay, so check that one out. If you don't want to buy something used, which is totally understandable, you could try an M-Favor ergonomic chair, the mesh version. Just keep in mind that it only comes in one size and it is for bigger folks. I'm 5'6" and my legs are kind of, not hitting the ground. And because all mesh chairs do have a hard edge, you may find that, if you don't have the right footrest, that the edge might be digging into the back of your leg, which is why I recommend a size A Aeron over the M-Favor ergonomic chair. Next up is Christina, and I love the level of detail that Christina goes into here. So Christina is 5'2", weighs 95 pounds, located in the USA, likes to sit upright normally, likes to sit cross-legged, but only if Christina is getting uncomfortable. Now, they want a chair that they can sit in for long hours, for watching content, web browsing. They do not like aggressive lumbar, prefers mesh, leather, or fabric, and has a budget of $1,000 all the way to $1,800, nothing over $2,000. And obviously everybody wants to go lower than higher, and has tried a lot of different chairs. The All 33 chair, the X chair, with which Christina found super uncomfortable. The Embody, wanted to love it, but didn't love the design, caused discomfort, was too difficult to adjust. Tried the Steelcase Leap, didn't like the appearance. That is a common thing about Steelcase chairs. They feel great, but unfortunately they don't look that good. Tried the Sail, didn't like the design, even though it's great for shorties. Tried racer style gaming chairs, they hated that style. Tried the Hyken, found it uncomfortable, especially with the headrest. Does not want a headrest. That's a lot of information, and Christina offers a lot more. What have you liked in the past? The Human Scale Different World was good. Tried the Human Scale Freedom. Tried a Staples Aeron, I'm not sure, I haven't really heard of that chair. Wanted something a little bit more comfortable, a little more durable, have longer longevity, and talks about their experience with the Embody. Additional information, wants something sleek and stylish, is a very visual person, works well with someone who's very small, loves adjustments, but can get overwhelmed by a lot of adjustments, which I totally understand, and yeah, goes on to say thank you for this work. And says they're long-winded and super picky, but honestly, the information is helpful to help narrow down your chair. Now, as I read this, my thought jumped immediately to the Herman Miller Cosm. Now, the one I reviewed is the high back version, but I went to Herman Miller HQ and their entire office is fitted with low back white Herman Miller Cosms. And I remember just looking at the chair and being like, this thing is gorgeous. Like, from a design perspective, it looks so good, and it also meets the needs for a couple things. One is durability. It's using the same mesh as the Herman Miller Aeron. It's got the 12-year warranty. Plus, in terms of controls, you can't be overwhelmed by them because it doesn't have any. It just adjusts to your body, much like the Human Scale Freedom. Now, the price will vary based on the height of the back that you get. The lower one, I think, goes to about like $1,200. The mid back goes to about $1,500, and then the high back can get up to $2,000. I don't recommend the high back unless because you don't like a headrest. I'm going to recommend either the small back or the short back or the medium back. Next up is Emily. Emily is 5'1", 128 pounds, lives in the USA, cycles through all types of sitting, but usually cross-legged or one leg tucked, kind of like we've seen before, sits 4 to 6 hours, does not like aggressive lumbar, wants a mesh or a fabric chair with a budget of $500. They've ruled out a Aeron in medium, but probably needed a small and wasn't sure if they'd probably pick an Aeron again. They used the Staples chair that looks similar to the autonomous one. I'm assuming they mean the Hyken, but the material is scratchy. They said that they tried their boyfriend's Secret Lab Titan 2020 and liked the feel of the materials. The seat is big, and obviously in any gaming chair at this height, your legs are going to dangle, and so maybe they need a footrest. Being short, of course, they have a hard time sitting back against the chair just because of the nature of the way the height and your body works and the way chairs are designed, and so they want to look for footrests. So, and adjustable arms are a must when the optimum position is ruined because the arms conflict with my desk. And that is totally understandable. So if you liked, Emily, the Titan Evo 2020, then I think you're gonna like the Titan Evo 2022 even better. Not sure if you've seen my review where I actually had a bunch of my friends test these chairs, but there is someone who's close to your height who does use a very high footrest on the small one.
Here's a really tall one.
Wow. Oh yeah, that's good. This is good.
So you might want to check that video out. Now, I don't recommend a size A Aeron because you tuck your leg under, and as I've stated before, those hard edges may hurt. So the ones that I recommend are going to be the Sitis T50, which is the smallest, the shortest chair of the three I'm going to recommend. And it's also got a tilt forward. It reminds you of a budget Aeron, but without mesh. Uses fabric on the bottom. You've also got the Sihu M90D, which I've recommended before, and the Bowery as well. These two chairs are going to be much bigger, but if you're okay with the deep seat on the Titan 2020, like you mentioned before, then these should be just fine, again, if you get a tall footrest. It is so hot in the studio. It's like 85 degrees right now. I don't have AC in the studio. It's getting installed this weekend. But the show must go on. All right, Josh. Josh is 5'7", weighs 190 pounds, located in the United States, changes positions a lot and sits for 8+ hours, likes aggressive lumbar, prefers mesh or fabric seating material, has a budget of $500 to $650, and did not give much other information except that they're looking for something with a footrest, or over the headrest, sorry. Now, in terms of your weight, a new mesh chair, again, at this point is not going to be recommended. Just again, to reiterate, your weight, the quality of mesh at that $500 to $650 price point, if it's not a used Aeron, is not going to be very good. And because you like to change positions a lot, I don't know if the Aeron is going to be ideal for you because it has hard edges. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I believe for you, the Sitis T50, if you think you're going to enjoy more of an ergonomic chair, but also consider the Titan Evo 2022 because it supports your head and at the same time gives you a lot of freedom of movement because the chair is so big, because you can tilt back. So that is something that you might want to consider. If you haven't checked out a gaming chair before and you've got a friend or friends who have one, you can sit in it and to see kind of like, do you enjoy that experience? If not, then the Sitis T50 is probably going to be the one for you. Next up is Alex. Alex is 5'6", weighs 145 pounds, located in the United States, sits normally, sits for 7 to 12 hours, working from home and gaming, doesn't like aggressive lumbar, prefers mesh or fabric, has a budget of less than $700, currently has the Bowery chair, and they said the Bowery chair has been great, mainly curious to see what's out there because this person may give their girlfriend the chair if there's something significantly better. I'm gonna say that the Bowery chair is one of the best chairs for its price. The cushion is super thick, super dense. The back feels really great for people that are, up to about 5'11", 6 feet tall. And some other chairs though in this price point that I think are unique that you might like are the Dual Rest Alpha, which has insane back support. Every time I sit in it, I'm always like, this is so unique because it's got two pads that kind of cushion each of your back muscles next to the spine, and it feels really, really good. You can also adjust it in and out based on how much, how wide you want that back support to be. And the other one is going to be the Steelcase Series 2. Now this chair offers adjustable lumbar and better arm adjustment, but has a pretty significant price jump over the Bowery, where the Bowery comes in at about like $400. The Series 2 with the adjustable arms and the better back is gonna be about $700. So you're paying a considerable increase in price for something like that. Next up is Dominik, and Dominik is unique because Dominik is not located in the USA, which is going to cause some issues, which I'll explore a little bit later. So Dominik is 5'6" or 168 centimeters, weighs 158 pounds or 72 kilograms, located in Germany, likes to sit normally for 8 to 12 hours out a day with some short breaks, does not like aggressive lumbar, wants something that is pleather or fabric. The person doesn't have a budget. They said if it's worth it, they're willing to pay extra. They currently have a DX Racer formula and it's okay for a couple hours. It was quite inexpensive, and then they're looking at the Embody, but it's expensive and they didn't really have a chance to test it. They never had specific experience with expensive chairs other than their current DX Racer, and they said that they're in the mid-30s working from home, and as you get older, they're saying that they start to notice, it seems like they start to notice a little bit of pain in their back. Now, this is where it gets tricky. So we come to our first international person. And this is hard because the chairs that are available in the US may not be available in Germany. And as many of my German viewers tell me that the chairs in Germany just stomp all over the chairs that the US has, for example, that get shipped to us from China. Now, I've never been to Germany. It seems like you guys do have a lot more options, and your stuff looks really cool, by the way, like much cooler than a lot of these Chinese chairs. So I don't have like the most ideal list for German chairs. This is gonna be a common theme that happens in this series where if you're international, I don't know what's available there. So I'm gonna try to give you more recommendations than not, and if these aren't available in your region, then I apologize. I wish I could do this a little bit better, but it does get tricky when I have to research every single country. That's a little bit more time than I have, unfortunately. If your current chair is a gaming chair and you're okay with it, it causes minor discomfort, but you like what it can offer, then this is where it gets tricky because there aren't a lot of ergonomic office chairs that can offer the same thing. For example, a solid headrest, a soft seat pan, and the ability to tilt back and lock in that position. But I think the biggest things that you'd miss if you're moving to an ergonomic chair are going to be the lack of head support and the lack of a soft seat pan. Like if I were to give you or recommend you a chair that didn't have a headrest, but you've been using that headrest on your gaming chair, I think you would notice that. So I'm gonna focus on those two things, finding you a good chair with a headrest and finding you a chair that has a soft seat pan. And for that, I'm gonna recommend two things. Either the steel case gesture with the headrest, because the headrest is fantastic on the gesture and overall should feel better on your back in terms of lumbar support than a gaming chair. And the second is going to be the Herman Miller Embody, because the headrest is coming out for that chair in about 6 months, which I've posted here and given an update over here. If you are kind of like I don't want to spend that much, well, there's a third option, which is the Mavix M7 or the Mavix M9. I'm gonna put a big asterisk here because those chairs, I don't love their build quality. For the price, I think they're overpriced. I really think they're overpriced. You're not really getting the best build quality, but they do offer a lot of gaming chair features. They give you a headrest, they give you the ability to recline and to lock in a reclined position, and they're probably gonna give you better lumbar support than you're getting on typical racing style gaming chairs. Next up is Carmen. Carmen is 5'4", weighs 190 pounds, lives in the US, sits with legs under the chair, leaning forward. This is an interesting one. 6 to 7 hours, does not like aggressive lumbar, wants mesh or fabric, and has a budget of $600 to $700, has not ruled out any chairs or liked any chairs in the past, and prefers black material. So this person prefers to sit properly, but tilts forward. So based on that and the budget they gave, I recommend either the used Aeron, the size A or the size B. Based on your height, the size A would be a better fit, but based on your weight, you might wanna also check out a size B because it might give you a little bit more room in the chair. You wanna get one that has a forward tilt. So that's gonna be a fully loaded. On a used Aeron on the left side, you're gonna want to get the forward tilt one. Again, you can check out my video, I'll link it down below on how to buy a used Aeron. You can check out a Situs T50. A Situs T50 also has the tilt forward feature, and by tilting forward in these chairs, you're gonna get a lot better posture than if you're sitting in a normal chair and you try to tilt forward because you'll always end up hunching your back in those chairs. And then the third option is the Herman Miller Sail. This one might stretch your budget a little bit, but the Sail, the T50, and the Aeron can all do the forward tilt. And if they can forward tilt, again, it's gonna make sure that you're holding a good posture when you're in that forward tilt position. Next up is Meredith, sitting at 5'3", 180 pounds, lives in the United States, sits normally with their legs tucked under, sits for 8 to 12 hours at a time, doesn't like aggressive lumbar, wants mesh, leather, or pleather, or fabric, has unlimited budget, ruled out the Secret Lab Omega, the 2020 version, and they like the Cura office chair, and this person games for hours on end. Okay, I wish this person included if they changed their position to game, but I'm just gonna assume that based on what they said, they sit properly for their entire gaming session. And so with that being said, the Cura office chair that this person liked has a really beefy back lumbar support. It reminds me a lot of the Razer gaming chair, and if you're looking for a gaming chair, the Razer might not be a bad fit. The back lumbar can pop out like this, so if that's something that you're looking for, but then it's weird. They said that they don't like aggressive lumbar. So I'm gonna do my best here because the budget is unlimited. I'm gonna say the steel case gesture with the headrest again, if that's something that you like to have that head support, because it does have a very robust lumbar support. It's gonna have crazy arm support, but the the gesture has, I've heard some complaints about the seat pan feeling a little bit hard after long sitting sessions. So if that's the case, the Herman Miller Embody might be a better choice because as far as I've heard, some people find it a little bit stiff, but after a while, I think it kind of loosens up. And for me personally, I found the Embody's seat to be a lot softer than the gestures. Now, you can get the gaming variant. It's gonna offer more padding if that's something you're into, or you can get a non-gaming Embody if you want a little less padding, but a little bit more breathability. Feature Dan here. I realize now that I was reading Meredith's information incorrectly. I thought she said she liked her gaming chair when it's actually the total opposite. The gesture and the Embody are still good picks, but I'm gonna recommend two more. One is gonna be the Hayworth Fern, the non-headrest version. The headrest is not great on the Hayworth Fern. And the second is going to be the steel case Amiya. Both of these chairs are going to offer excellent lumbar support, really good padding in the seat, and I think is going to be good for long seating sessions like Meredith wants. Next up is Chris. Chris is 5'6", weighs 155 pounds, lives in the United States, moves around a lot, sits for 3 to 5 hours at a time, likes aggressive lumbar support, wants pleather, fabric, has a budget of $750, ruled out the Secret Lab Omega. They did not like it. It cuts into the edges of the sides of the leg. Did not like the Herman Miller Aeron because they had lower back pain with it. Did not like the Autonomous Ergo Chair Pro. It's too much pressure under the thigh, poor lumbar support. Haven't liked any chair so far. Currently uses a Steelcase Leap V1, but gets upper back pain. Now, when I look at the Leap V1, it's got really short back support, especially compared to the Leap V2. So you probably want something with a taller back support. And because this person moves around a lot, you probably want something that offers a lot of freedom of movement, has soft edges all around the chair. So for this price, I'm gonna say maybe the Bowery chair with the tall back, because that lumbar on it, the curve on it really grips that lumbar, really gives you nice lumbar support. The Sihu M90D, again, also is a tall back. It's got an awful headrest, just rip that thing off. And the third option is going to be the Sitis T80, not the T50 like I've mentioned before, because this person's budget is a little higher. The Sitis T80 has a pretty tall back, has a pretty decent headrest, and offers a forward tilt in case you ever want to relieve some pressure off of that lower back. The Sitis T80 is like a fabric version of the Aeron. The Aeron has a better build quality, but in terms of features, it reminds you a lot of an Aeron, but with a soft seat. Last but not least is Andrew. Andrew is 5'7", weighs 177 pounds, lives in the USA, likes to sit with their legs tucked under or normally, but they said that they're so uncomfortable they can't find a good spot. They sit for 8+ hours at a time, does not want an aggressive lumbar, prefers mesh, pleather, or fabric. Their budget, they said that they're on food stamps and disability, and they're looking to start a Kickstarter just to get their health back on track. They've ruled out gaming chairs, and they said that they are going to try to go to a Herman Miller store in Boston to see what the hype is about. And additional information, they like to recline, they need support, something that doesn't flare up their ulnar nerves, their thoracic, their shoulder blade area, and lumbar, because those are the areas most in pain. Now, first of all, I hope you're able to recover from the situation. It sounds like a really tough one, and my prayers go out to you. Now, I would say your best bet in your situation is probably going to be finding a used chair on the used market, just because the value of these chairs, they sink drastically as soon as someone purchases them, and something for you because you want a lot of range of motion. Some of the chairs that you might want to check out are, for example, like the Leap V2 or a Steelcase Gesture, if you can find those used. These chairs do a lot of R&D to find ideal, they do a lot of research to find the most ideal ways of sitting, which I don't or can't say the same thing about versus like the cheaper Chinese chairs. So those are some chairs you might want to check out. They're pretty common on the used market, and you should find them for way below what they're priced at if you were to buy them new. That's it for part 1. Part 2 is going to take a little while before it comes out. I do have a lot of other videos that I've committed to, so those have to come first. Let me know in the comments down below how I can improve it, what you want to see changes in part 2, and if you want to participate in this, let me know that as well in the comments down below. All right, guys, stay honest.